يا هلا 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 حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program. It is a Saturday morning. Great to be with you. Do hope you'll be keeping us company right up until 10 o'clock. We're talking about a whole host of very interesting things this morning. We start off by talking about makeup, how to enhance yourself, how to make certain that you look on point every time you go out, inshallah. But this is a new range of makeup and we need to hear about this from a young entrepreneur. I think she's only 21 years old, and I just think that it's amazing that we have this type of talent in our community. Then we'll be talking CHD, congenital heart disease, with the parents of a 2-year-old. They're going to come in and share their story with us and hopefully offer support and words of encouragement for other parents who find themselves in a similar situation. And we'll be wrapping up by talking about debt rescue. Yep, it's that time of the year. It's only just the beginning of the year, but lots of us are already in trouble. And how do we get out of our financial woes? Well, Neil Roots will be in studio to talk debt rescue. But let's get to the first gorgeous young lady of the day. Her name is Raisa Chunara. She hails from the Vaal Triangle. I think Roshni is the place that she hails from. And she's going to talk about her grand ideas and alhamdulillah just how it's panning out. Raisa, assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Auntie Julie, thank you for having me here.
Lovely to have you here, and I can't believe that someone as young as you has embarked on this amazing journey, and you've been telling me that alhamdulillah you've only launched in 2016 but already things are going really very, very great. We're talking about your range of makeup. It's called Fiori Paris, and if the camera can just catch that, we've got a few things lined up here. Fiori Paris is what you've called it. When and how did this dream start for you?
The dream started as soon as I completed school in 2016. I launched the 19th July 2017. It was all just a dream and it became a reality, creating products of a high quality to meet the demands of every lady out there.
MashaAllah. Now, I know all little girls, we love playing with dolls, we love to play house, and we love playing with makeup. Was that the same for you?
Definitely was. Beauty was a passion from a young age.
Okay, okay. Well, I can see that. It shows in this gorgeous young woman sitting here in front of me. When you started talking about developing your own makeup line, what was the response like from your parents? Because this is something, okay, great, it was your idea, but you need the right type of support to see the idea go into fruition.
Definitely. My parents was like extremely supportive. In whatever I wanted to do, they stood by my side and they helped me. My dad and I done like literally everything together, from designing, manufacturing, formulating. We done everything together. And they like my biggest support. Wherever I go, they go with me. I couldn't have done it without them.
Raisa, this is a huge undertaking. I mean, you've developed your own beauty line. I should imagine that lots of research had gone into this. So where does the manufacturing get done?
The manufacturing gets done in Korea. It took about 2 to 3 years of study and just to get to know what you are doing, because it's very important to give people the best of the best.
And when you say it took about 2 to 3 years of obviously research, how long did it take to actually get the product before you got it to market, to test and see that, hey, this does work, or we need to make some adjustments to the product because we don't think that this would suit our market?
I've been working on it since I was in grade 10. So I've been sitting and playing around with different formulations, seeing what we can do and how we can go about it. That was like the most important thing. when I completed my school in 2016, and this is when I decided, okay, this is what I really want to do. I have everything already, so why don't I like make my dream a reality? So that's what I done.
Weren't you afraid? We know that the makeup market is overtraded. There's, you know, we're spoiled for choice as far as makeup is concerned, or beauty products. Was there ever a doubt in your mind that, hey, this might not work, and what am I going to do then? Because I should imagine there must have been a huge initial investment before you took the product to market.
Definitely it was. It took like, the thought of failure is always there, but always persisting and never giving up. Okay, my main thing is about having hope. And the positive,
and believing in yourself,
and
obviously.
believing in myself, and the whole concept of the positive mind thing. That's like the most important thing, because if you're positive about what you are doing and the way you put yourself out there and the way you like just give your product out to people, that's like the most important thing ever. Just having hope and believing in yourself, consistency and perseverance, and never giving up. And that's how Fiori grew. In the matter of 7 months, we grew like tremendously, really fast.
You say you obviously decided to have the products manufactured in Korea. Why Korea and no other place in the world?
Because Korea has the finest labs in the world.
Okay, makeup labs.
Makeup labs in the world.
And I presume you did your research into that as well.
No, it took years, and then until I found what I want and how I want it.
Mm-hmm. What is it that you bring different and unique to the South African makeup market? I've already suggested to you that we're spoiled for choice as far as beauty products are concerned. You sound very determined when you talk about your product. You were absolutely certain that this is going to work. There's got to be that one X factor that you were sure was going to be your selling point. What is that?
My X factor is always being innovative, coming up with different ideas. Example, our electronic makeup brush cleaner. No one in the country has it. You are the first to have it. It washes, spins and dry your brushes.
Have you brought it along?
No, I haven't brought it along.
Oh, you should have brought it along to show us, to give us a demonstration.
It washes, spins and dry your brushes within seconds. Mm-hmm. And that's the key thing about us. We're always innovative, bringing in new things and just like keeping our audience excited.
Mm-hmm. Aren't you worried that someone's going to copy your idea about the washing and the spinning of the different makeup brushes?
Definitely, a lot of people will copy what you are doing. But the brand is out there. My name has been like, it's in people's head like all the time. And with the help of Shashi Naidu, Candice Modise, like they really help build my brand up. And Shashi Naidu like done a lot for me.
What did you do, for example? She's the TV personality, am I right?
Yeah, she's a TV personality. She's my role model, my inspiration, my motivation, my mentor. She like does a lot for me in terms of marketing, mentoring. She's always there by my side. I can phone her like at 12 o'clock and say, Auntie Shash, I have a problem. And she'll be there like to always guide me along the way.
How did you hook up with her?
It was just through a friend, and I ended up messaging her and I told her, Auntie Shash, I need your help. I'm creating my new brand. And she was like extremely supportive. And she was like, we're going to get your brand out there. And that's what she done for me. She done like a lot.
Mm-hmm. So where has your brand gone out? I must be honest, it's the first time I hear of Fiori Paris, and I think it's a very catchy name. It's a very nice name. But where has your brand reached? Who are the people that you can very confidently say is using your brand and is very, very happy with the brand? Our
brands are used like by normal people, it's used by makeup artists, it's used by celebrities because of our excellent quality of our products. Mm-hmm. It reached like Durban, Cape Town, it reached like a lot of places.
Mm-hmm. Now, I also understand that the great thing about your brand, and I asked you about the X factor, is that it's completely halal.
It's completely halal.
All right. Why would you say it's halal? Just for the benefit of our viewers, tell us how can they be rest assured that this is a completely safe brand to use at any time of the day?
There's no alcohol inside. There's no pig inside. It's completely halal. Our liquid matte lipstick, okay, that's the only thing that lasts you up to 24 hours. So all you have to do is take makeup remover and remove it off when you make wudu.
Okay, let's go for our first ad break. When we come back, we're going to ask you to unpack what you have in your line and how people can get hold of the product. And it's called Fiori Paris by Raisa Chunara. Wonderful. Here's this young 21-year-old talking about her entrepreneurial skills. She's launched a makeup product and it is halal, alhamdulillah. It is obtainable online. You can buy this online, but she's going to come back and tell us much more about this amazing concept of hers, which she's very, very pleased to say that has hit the markets by storm. So do stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking to a 21-year-old, a beautiful girl who hails from Roshni. She's here to talk about the launch of her makeup product. I think it's the first in South Africa. Am I right?
Yes, it's the first in South Africa.
A Muslim young lady launching a range of beauty products.
Definitely is.
MashaAllah, and it's halal.
It's halal, completely halal.
Okay, wonderful. So you're going to show us how many items do you have in your range?
When we initially started off with 2 products, our liquid matte lipstick and our normal lipstick. In a period of 7 months, we are sitting with 8 to 9 different products.
MashaAllah.
Our liquid matte lipstick, it lasts like really long, 12 hours. It's waterproof, ultra matte, ultra pigment, ultra moist. So generally, with a liquid matte lipstick, it dry, fades and crack your lips. For me, creating the best formulation and making sure that it doesn't dry, fade and crack your lips was the most important thing.
So you're guaranteeing that it doesn't do that?
It doesn't dry, fade
because
or crack your lips.
Because I have that problem.
It guarantees doesn't dry, fade or crack your lips because our formulation, it can last you up to 12 to 14 hours.
Okay, perfect. And your prices, are you competitive? I mean, if I go into a makeup store and wanting to buy makeup, would it compare with, you know, the prices you're selling at?
Our prices are very compatible. Our liquid matte lipstick goes for 270 Rand. Our matte lipstick goes for 250 Rand. Our Bellissimo eyeshadow, just see the pigmentation of this product. Wow. Okay, and that's the only palette you have. No, but I mean, it's comprehensive enough, is it not? It is very comprehensive. Our price range is there. Because of our quality, our price range is definitely affordable for everyone. Perfect. What else do you have? So you have the... I got the liquid matte lipstick. Right, you've got the Limo eyeshadow palette. Right. I got Bellissimo eyeshadow palette. I got the liquid matte lipstick, which is available in 3 different colors. What's the difference between the 2 lipsticks? This one lasts you much longer, and this one is just a matte lipstick. It can last you 5 to 6 hours more. But also protects against chapping and dryness, etc. of the lips. Definitely it will. Okay. Why have you called your product Fiori Paris? It's a very catchy and a very pretty name. What does it mean and why Fiori Paris? Fiori has always been in our family for the last few years. And I love the name since I was a child, and I knew that this name I'm definitely going to use, but I never know how. Until I decided with the cosmetics, and I knew it would be like extremely perfect for the brand and just to get it out there. And it will make a difference. And how the sales going? It's purely online sales, am I right? It's purely online. We supply a few of Demi Taylor nail stores, and we're opening up our own laser boutique, so it will be in our store in Sandton. Alhamdulillah, that's wonderful. Apart from opening up the boutique, which we look forward to, what else are you planning for the future? What we plan in the future is like creating more innovative products, bringing in foundation, bringing in your lip liner, eyeliner stems. There's a lot planned out there for the rest of the year. Keep watching and you'll see amazing stuff. We certainly will. Thank you so much for coming in, and we're certainly going to try out this range. We'll give you feedback, inshallah. Thank you for coming in, and lots and lots and lots
of success going forward, inshallah. And I think you're a great role model for all the young women and men watching us this morning.
Amen. Thank you so much for having me, Auntie Julie.
My pleasure entirely. That was the lovely Raisa Chunara talking about the introduction to our market of the Fiori Paris range of makeup. I think it's amazing. A 21-year-old girl. She's had this dream forever, and alhamdulillah, it has now been realized. Still to come on the show, we're going to talk CHD, and we're also going to talk debt rescue. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and welcome back. This is Let's Talk on this Saturday morning, and next we're going to talk about CHD, congenital heart disease. We have a young couple in studio with us, and they brought their little baby. She's 2 years old. Her name is Lamiha, and they're here to share their story with us. Now, one often wonders why share a story like this. My take is simply because, alhamdulillah, the journey that they are undergoing as a couple will probably help other people who find themselves in a similar situation. So we're not going to talk to the dad. His name is Nadim Token. We're going to focus on Mom Raisa, simply because dad hasn't been mic'd up, because Lamia is being she feels a bit strange. So I think when there's too much attention around daddy, it makes her feel uncomfortable. So we're going to go straight over to Raisa. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Lovely to have you in the studio, and I don't even know how to start this conversation, because I wonder at people like yourselves. Allah must have blessed you with so much of patience, and so much of love, and so much of humility, and so much of all of those wonderful things for you to be able to go through this journey with little Lamiha, who is 2 years old. When did you know that Lamia is suffering from CHD?
Alhamdulillah, my pregnancy went well with Lamiha. Nothing was picked up in my pregnancy, and once she was born, she was taken to the neonatal ICU.
Why was that?
They believe that she picked up a lung infection, so they treated that initially, and once the lungs weren't doing too well, they called in a cardiologist, which is when then they found out that she's got a heart defect. Then about
how did that make you feel? You've just given birth to this little bundle of joy. You've been planning and waiting and making dua that Allah bless you with this little angel, just to be told that she's born with a heart defect.
At that point, I was devastated, although I didn't really understand what it would entail, or what would our future be like. I had no idea. I had no idea about CHD and none of these diseases. But alhamdulillah, we've learned a lot, and we've come a long way. So initially, it was difficult to find that out, but shukr, alhamdulillah, we've been working on educating ourselves.
Your whole life has changed. Whatever you had planned whilst you were pregnant with her, all your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations, your wishes, all of that changed completely. The goalposts were moved, literally speaking. So you had to rethink how you go forward with a child suffering from CHD. But also, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed you. You have a 3-year-old son. He's perfectly normal.
Absolutely.
Okay. Your journey now starts. Husband and wife, you and Nadim get together to now start talking about your life together with a child suffering from CHD. How do you even start at that point talking about what the future is going to look like?
To be honest with you, we had not planned anything. We hadn't said we're going to do this or that. And it still goes until today. We take it a day at a time. Alhamdulillah, she's home today and she's well today. So let's see if she can manage till tomorrow with us, doing okay.
So basically what you're saying, you take one day at a time.
Absolutely. With her, at any given time, she can be not doing well, and then she's got to go to hospital, and we've got to admit her, and she's got to have a stay in hospital for her treatment. So with Lamiha, we've been going with everything. Alhamdulillah, she's with us today, and that is just, it's been from day one. If the doctor feels that he needs to do this procedure, we'll make dua that it goes well, and Bismillah. That is our thing with Lamia. Like, we've got to do whatever we think.
She's 2 years old now. She's handing something to do. You want to take it? Okay. She's 2 years old now. How many times has she been in and out of hospital?
Oh, to be honest, I have lost count. She's been she's been in hospital the past year at least 8 to 10 times. She's been for many operations, into theater, in and out of theater, like you can't believe. And like, we can't exactly count how many times, because the littlest of procedures are so so dangerous for her, and so it has such a big kind of impact on her tiny body. So anytime she has to go in for anesthesia, it's a big deal for us.
And you feel totally helpless and hopeless.
Absolutely.
When this happens.
Absolutely.
Your heart stands still. You die a little bit inside every time she's got to go in to hospital. You're not knowing whether she's coming back home.
Absolutely. And you go in with all the intention of leaving it to Almighty Allah, but inside you feel so helpless, because all you want to do is just have your baby home and well and normal, and have her not being admitted to the hospital every few weeks or every few months. And that is just how our lives have been for the past 2 years.
Must be quite a strain.
It definitely
Absolute
is.
strain.
Absolutely.
And you, the two of you, have to be very strong to keep this marriage going, working, being there for each other, because it can take its toll.
Yes.
It's a huge, huge stressor in a relationship. That being said, let's talk about what exactly is CHD. I've been told that it presents in children under the age of 1. It's pretty common. And children under the age of 1, most of the deaths occur before or under the age of 1. Alhamdulillah, she's 2 years old. What have the doctors said to you? What's the prognosis for Lamiha going forward?
To be honest, Lamiha's doctors have, it's the first case, her case is the first case because of the complications we've had in the past 2 years. Initially, Lamiha's diagnosis was just the congenital heart disease, the defect in her heart. Since then, she had 2 open heart surgeries. After her second open heart surgery, she had a lung collapse. And then she also had a dilated heart, an enlarged heart. Her heart was so big, it takes about 60 to 80% of her chest. And then once she went in for an angiogram, and they did bronchoscopes and all these tests to find out why is that lung not inflating after the collapse, they found out that it's actually that her heart has been pushing onto her windpipe. So it's causing a kind of compression on the windpipe, which is blocking the left lung. So at one stage, Lamia has been managing only on her right lung. And the doctors have told me that they've never seen a case like this in South Africa, and they're going to have to act fast because she needs that left lung to kind of inflate for her to start moving and for her to have a quality of life, good quality of life. And so they did another operation under her arm where they stitched up the aorta, which is the main artery of the heart, of the human body. they stitched up the wall of the aorta, and they kind of pulled it and they stitched it to the rib, to her rib cage. And since then, she's been doing okay, alhamdulillah. It's been a very, very, very slow process. But shukr, now, as you're looking at her today, she's doing so much better, shukr,
All right,
alhamdulillah.
I know Nadim's going to take her offset after the first ad break. She's been very good up to now, alhamdulillah. But just explain to us, and if the cameras can just take a shot of the contraption here on the floor. Explain to us what is that, Raisa, and why you need to be carrying this with you all around.
So this is Lamia's portable oxygen machine. It's basically just giving her oxygen because she needs that boost since her lung collapsed. She needs that extra oxygen just to give her support. If we take her off there for a few minutes, you'll notice that her lips go blue or her fingertips go blue.
And she's obviously in distress.
Yes. So a lot of breathing distress happens, and you can see her actually, breathing very difficult, and she kind of becomes very restless. So she just needs that, and she's on it for 24 hours a day. She's on it.
How has this impacted on your life? The normalcy of your life? I don't know what other word to use. So forgive me if you believe that I'm being insensitive.
Okay.
But just with your first child and comparing now, how has this impacted?
Look, there's been a lot of difficulty, especially once we're out in public. You get people staring. I mean, let's face it, today in this world, we're not very open to different children, to children who are suffering with disease. People are not very welcoming as such.
We take too much for granted, don't we?
Yes, we do. And but that makes me want to actually put her out there some more, to educate people. Let's educate our kids to not be horrible to kids that are a little bit different.
I'm so glad that you've come in to talk about it, because I think in the old days, in the bad, dark ages, if a child had a condition which wasn't acceptable to the greater society or the norms of the greater society, they hid the child away. They closed the child off from the public because it was almost an embarrassment or a shame.
Yes.
And that's not what it's about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His mercy and His wisdom, knows why we are blessed with children with different types of challenges. And it's a lesson for all of us. It's not a punishment. It's for us all to learn, maybe to become more giving, to be more humble, whatever the lessons are. And you as the mommy, it's not a lesson for you. It's a lesson for everybody around you, for the entire community.
Absolutely.
So you are absolutely right by putting her out there, because apart from everything else that you've kind of laid out on the table, I think that we have to be more accepting of children who are different. We have to be more supportive to parents like yourselves, and we need to know that you guys too need our support as a community. But that being said, tell me how challenging is it? I'm thinking about when you have a power failure. What happens then if she needs her oxygen? Or when you're traveling, how do you travel with oxygen if she needs it whilst you're traveling?
Okay, yes, she does need it all the time. She needs it at any given point in the day. This oxygen machine...
You said it's portable.
It's portable, and also it connects to the car charger. So while we're driving, it can be on.
Right.
If, for example, we can't connect to the car charger or a plug point or anything like that, we've got an oxygen cylinder, which is it's a cylinder of oxygen that is dry oxygen, but it will keep us going and it will do her good for the time that we need to sort out maybe a machine at a point where we can get electricity, or where we can make a plan for the actual machine to switch on.
So that will help in a power failure situation as well.
Yes.
Is she going to be on oxygen for the rest of her life?
I have no idea to that answer. Initially, our doctors said that it will be a few months, but I'm leaving it only to Allah Ta'ala and Lamia to recover from her lung collapse.
Okay, let's go for our first ad break. I'm talking to the very brave parents of Lamiha Token. It's Nadeem and Raisa talking about Lamiha's condition. She suffers from CHD, and as you can hear, she's now becoming very tired and very restless on set. Dad's going to take her off set, inshallah, whilst we have the ad break. And when we come back, we're going to continue talking to Mom Raisa about the condition and just the type of support they need from us as a community and the type of support they can offer you as a family if you find yourself in a similar situation, inshallah. And we're listening to the very sad story of Raisa and Nadeem. I had the wrong name early on. Raisa's maiden name is Token and her married name is Sirkot. So that's the couple that are in studio with us. Nadeem has taken little Lamia out because she was now tired and she was starting to fuss. Everything's very strange and new for her. So obviously she is not going to be sitting still for a long time, and she's only 2 years old. Anyway, we've managed to show you a little bit some shots of Lamia and her portable oxygen tank. We'll continue this discussion. It's very sad, and with a very heavy heart I'm actually doing this interview, and I can't even begin to imagine what this young couple goes through with Lamia's condition. But anyone out there, any family, we know none of us are immune from challenges or difficulties. Know that when you have a loved one who is suffering from any disease whatsoever, the strain it can be on the family. And without the right support, I think you can and will obviously burn out. So community, family, and support structures are absolutely vital in this situation. What's your support system like, Raisa? Because if you don't have that, you're going to burn out.
Absolutely. Our families and friends have been incredibly supportive, especially when Lamia has been admitted to hospital. We have them all the time. And once we're home, people call, they phone to find out how you are. Although with Lamia, you tend to have just the support of Nadeem and I. She refuses to bond with anybody else besides her parents. She kind of finds it strange to bring an outsider in, to just stay with her, or just...
What about, your in-laws or your parents, or perhaps a caregiver, if you can expose her to someone on a very regular basis, and that person can give you a bit of time out? Because you're just telling me now that you get an hour a day out for you just to go for a walk or just to de-stress while Nadeem takes care of her, and that's how you guys support each other. But you guys are going to burn out, obviously, if you don't have more support than you currently have.
Absolutely, I agree with you. The only thing is, look, my parents and Nadeem's parents are increasingly supportive, and they try. They would take Lamia and really try and keep her. Although I think it's a bit of a risk, because when Lamia is out, she kind of fusses. And once she cries and cries for a while, she turns blue. So she'll have a bluish tint to her face. And I think people kind of, yes, they freak out. Yeah. And her condition is so fatal. I mean, I really don't blame anybody for not wanting to have that responsibility on them. And besides that, having to have her be with someone else, I think I'd be on my nerves, because nobody knows her like we do. Nobody knows how to, read the signs that she tells when she's, for example, having breathing distress or having a bad day. Nobody would obviously know her like her parents would, which is why I would be at ease if one of us were always with her. I do agree that yes, we do need our time out, but I do believe that we were given this and we can handle it.
Do you question why, in terms of, did you have a normal pregnancy? I mean, we always want answers. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest of planners, but we are human and we want answers to our questions. Have you tried to go back and try and almost get an answer as to why, what went wrong that Lamiha was born with CHD?
Initially, I used to, a lot of the time, I used to say, what did I do wrong? Is this a punishment? And over time, I've realized that I can't question it. I've got to just accept it. And that's what we've done today and for the past few months now. I've just accepted whatever has come my way with Lamia. I leave it onto Allah Ta'ala. There have been many times that I found it difficult to accept, but Alhamdulillah, where I am today, I accept it, and I'm willing to just do what I need to do for her, because she's my responsibility. She's my amanat in this world. And I find that myself and Nadeem were handpicked from the Almighty to be given this little angel of His. And as difficult as this may sound, or as raw as it may sound, I know that she's not ours. She is not ours. And she's just our amanat in this world. And I take every single moment to just cherish that.
You've invested all your time, your finances, your love, your emotions. Everything who you are is invested in little Lamiha. But you've also come to the realization that it can all end very suddenly, anytime and anytime soon.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like Lamia's doctors have told me blatantly that they did not think that they would see Lamia today. She was not doing well, and there were many times, many times that I could just lose her in an instant. She had breathing difficulties. Her heart was not doing well. She was in cardiac failure at one stage. Her liver was enlarged. She was really not doing well. And shukr, alhamdulillah, she's pulled through all of those doctors' assumptions. And it's a reality that we face every day. It's at the back of your mind all the time. When she's not having a good day, it pops up in your mind. But you've got to just be positive and stay strong. And when she smiles, that smile is enough to get you through the day. And she laughs, it makes your heart just melt. So.
And the reality is that everyone watching us this morning, you and I, we're sitting here talking about Lamiha because she has a condition called CHD, but you and I and everybody else is 1 minute closer to meeting our Maker.
Absolutely.
So it shouldn't, we can't be sitting and thinking, oh, that's not going to have an impact on me at all. What advice do you have to other parents who might be suffering or going through something similar to what you're going through? I'm thinking in terms of how often do you have to take her for doctor's visits, in terms of topping up of the oxygen, other meds that she needs. I should assume she's on a special diet. All of those issues, it's huge. How do you cope, and what's the advice you have for other parents in a similar situation?
It's huge. It's life-changing. And looking after a little kid that has these challenges, there's no words to describe how your day goes, just tending to their needs. And I would say to just embrace it, like, don't question it. Go with it. Do whatever you need to do for your child. You've got to stay positive, because I believe that this is also our test. Lamia has also been given to us to see how will we react. Will we be just frustrated about this and be so negative about it and kind of just creep into a hole about it, or will we bring positivity to it? Will we come out and share our story, or will we make other people who are suffering from the same kind of illnesses feel better about themselves? And that is our whole point today. I want people to feel positive about it, to move forward, to come out, and don't be afraid to take your children out in public, even though, yes, you'll have those stares from people, or a negative vibe from maybe kids. But let's work together.
What would you like people, how do you want people to interact with you when you go out in public with Lemiha? For myself, I find that when I see someone in a wheelchair or walking with a white cane, indicating that he or she has a problem with sight, I don't want to offend the person, so I rather say nothing and retreat. But I'm sure that's not what people don't want, to be isolated or marginalized. How do you want people to interact with you as a family and with Lemiha?
I would be glad if someone just kind of came across as, we're a normal family. I mean, she's a normal little girl.
You wouldn't think people would be intruding if they asked you questions?
Absolutely not. I would actually love that, because that would be my point of teaching somebody something new. I actually do enjoy people asking me what's the matter, or why does she have oxygen, and I love that. I love answering their questions, and I love people who want to learn more about people or Lemiha's condition. I'm all for that.
Because they taking an interest in your special circumstances, and they're recognizing your child. So that's very affirming for you, is it not?
It is, and it is comforting in a way as well.
What do you want to say to other mothers watching us this morning, whether their child is suffering from CHD or any other mental, physical condition, which they know may be terminal or may be chronic? What's your advice to them? Because I think with caregivers, parents, sometimes they just reach a point, a breaking point, and they feel, I can't any longer. You may or may not have reached that point, and when you do reach that point, what do you want to say to those moms, and what do you want people to say to you in those circumstances?
I'd like people to give me that little bit of hope, a bit of positivity in the whole situation. And also, what's very important, like you mentioned before, I'd say take a little time out for yourself every day, even if it's just a few minutes, even if it's to sit in a room all by yourself, just to clear your mind, just to have your thoughts processed and to feel okay. And yeah, it's very important for me, because like my whole day goes in just physiotherapy, all these other therapies with Lemiha, and then I feed her as well daily.
What does her routine look like? Talk us through her routine from the time she wakes up.
Okay, so when Lemiha wakes up in the morning, she's got to have her chronic medication as soon as she wakes up. So that's what I do. I get her medication all sorted out. It's about 10 to 15 chronic medications every single day.
Does she not resist and fight you when taking the meds?
Okay, what I've forgotten to mention is she's got a feeding tube in her tummy. So what I do is I don't give it to her orally, because that's so terrible. The tastes of medication every morning before you have anything else to eat. I give it to her through her feeding tube. Yes, so she doesn't taste it. That's her morning, and then she barely eats enough for her nutrition for her body to grow. So I've got to supplement her through that tube.
What do you supplement her with?
She drinks. She has a milk supplement. It's called a Pediasure supplement, and I've got to feed her every 2 hours, to make sure that she's getting enough calories and nutrients for her body so that she can become stronger. And And then we do so I do her medication, I wait a while, do her feeding, wait a while, and then we have therapists that come in and do therapy with her.
What sort of therapy?
She does physiotherapy.
Every day without fail?
No, so her physiotherapy therapists come in twice a week, and then we have a language and speech therapist that comes in once a week, and we're looking to start occupational therapy with her, as well as biokinetics with her. So that's how my day goes. I'm busy with her therapies and feeding.
You are so wrapped up with Lamiha. It indicates to me that you hardly have time for yourself. What about your 3-year-old?
So in all of this, my 3-year-old's just started play school now. I make sure that when he comes back from play school, at least, even if it's maybe 15 to 20 minutes, I just kind of give him some time. He needs that bonding time with me because he's only 3 and he still needs all of that attention. But alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed him with so much of sabr. He's been through it all with us, and he's been so affectionate and so kind of caring towards his sister. I cannot even explain how he's been so supportive, and it's difficult at times and he wants me at times, but alhamdulillah, overall he's been so good.
What about support therapy? Do you attend a support group, or
no?
Do you feel that might work for you and your husband, or is there just no time for that?
To be honest with you, there's no time. Our kids just need us all the time. We have each other as support, which I failed to mention before. If I'm not having a good day, Nadim will always be there and just give me that little boost to make me feel as though I need to, come on, you can do it now.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Things like this, situations like this, breaks up some couples, but alhamdulillah, it's brought you closer together. We've come to the end of the program. What is your very special message to other parents who are in a similar situation as you are?
My message will just be that we've got to stay positive for our kids. We've got to embrace them just as you would any other normal kid. I also have a page on Instagram. We've started a page that shows every obstacle Lamia or every challenge Lamia has been through. If anybody wants to reach out to me, our page is called The Life of Lamiha. Please be open to message me or let me know anything. Inshallah. If you need anything.
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us. Our du'as, our love and our support is with you.
Ameen.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with you every step of the way.
Ameen.
Grant Lamiha and all the sick children all around the world complete shifa, inshallah.
Ameen. Jazakallah for having me.
The sad story of little Lamiha Sirkot. Mom was in studio talking to us. Of course, Dad and little Lamiha were in the studio for the first part of the show. It really makes you think, doesn't it, that we must stop taking things for granted and start counting our blessings, inshallah. Still to come, debt rescue, and then we'll be wrapping up for this Saturday morning. And welcome back. We're into the final segment of the show this morning, and we're going to be talking the serious stuff. It's that time of year when people come to the realization that they're in trouble, financial trouble. They're owing a lot of people lots of money, and if nothing gets done to remedy the situation, they are going to be in serious trouble. They might get listed, blacklisted, and they might not ever be able to get credit again in their lives. So What is the answer in a situation like this? You can't borrow from Paul to pay Peter because you just find that you're deeper in the spiral of debt. Well, we do have someone that's come to the fore. They call themselves Debt Rescue, and let's hear what is it that they're offering to the general public. It is also said that over 30,000 people are on their plan, Debt Rescue, and it seems to be working well. So let's hear what is this magical solution. And to talk to us about it is Neil Roots, the CEO of Debt Rescue. Neil, morning, welcome to the program.
Morning, thank you very much.
Have I given the right figure there? Over 30,000 people with Debt Rescue?
That's correct, and industry-wise, there's probably more than 300,000 people under debt review. So the process has done a lot for a lot of consumers out there, and we actually have a brilliant piece of legislation helping people with over-indebtedness. In fact, it must be one of the best piece of legislation of its kind in the world.
Wow.
It enables people to basically pay back their money to credit providers in an affordable manner without losing their assets. And just to
so when you say assets, obviously you're talking even, for example, your house can't be repossessed if I register with you, if I'm in trouble, if I'm owing a lot of people money. If I come to Debt Rescue, my house or my car won't be repossessed.
100% correct. So the National Credit Act, through debt counselling, basically protects those assets and put you in a situation, a position to pay back what you can afford on a monthly basis, so that at the end of the day you do the right thing and the responsible thing by paying back your debt, but we make it affordable. So if you compare that to legislation abroad, South Africa has the only legislation in the world that enables you to put your home loan under debt review.
Wow.
So people must really make use of that, because there's no reason why people should suffer and try to negotiate with their credit providers on their own and hope for a day where they're just going to get their money, when there is help out there. And not only will it enable you to pay back the money in an affordable manner, but it also protects your assets through the National Credit Act.
So what about the financial institutions that have given me a loan on my home in the first instance? And let's assume I was paying 5,000 Rand back on my home loan. When I come to someone like you at Debt Rescue, Debt Review, you work out my plan and say to me, okay, Julie, you're only able to pay back 500 Rand a month on your bond repayment. Is the financial institution going to accommodate me from 5,000 to 500?
Well, we always try to be reasonable, and we would try to get the repayment amount as close to the original amount as possible. But if a client, for instance, can only, on your example, afford to pay back, for instance, 2,500 Rand, then we would notify the credit providers this is the amount that the client can afford. And in terms of the National Credit Act, the credit provider has no choice but to accept that. Paying back 500 Rand on a 5,000 Rand installment, it's possible, because if that is all that the client can afford to pay on a monthly basis, it's definitely possible. But we would like to make it reasonable, not only for the consumers, but also for the credit providers, because as debt counsellors, we are basically independent functionaries of court, acting in the best interest of the consumers and the credit providers, making sure that there is a solution and whereby a consumer can pay back all his debt, but in an affordable manner.
And affordable enough to pay back your fee as well, because you offer the full package. It's debt counselling as well that gets built into this package for the consumer.
The process is called debt counselling, but the name is actually a little bit misleading, because we do not necessarily provide counselling. This is a legal process whereby we look at your finances, we determine what you earn on a monthly basis.
In a sense, it is counselling, isn't it? You're guiding them on the right path.
Yes, we're guiding them, but more than just giving advice, we're setting a process in motion. whereby legislation is involved. And at the end of the day, when we have determined the amount that that consumer can afford to pay back to his credit providers, we will also then apply at court to make that repayment plan an order of court, making sure that we provide all the protection to that consumer that he would need.
So what happens if I come to you and 2-3 years down the line I renege, maybe I lose my job, or I'm just one of those bad defaulters. You know, I'm sick and tired of paying, I've been good for the past 2.5 years, and I'm tired of all of this drama. What's going to happen to me then?
Well, a debt review is a brilliant process, and it's to help a lot of people to pay back their money in an affordable way. But people must not default on their debt review payments, because they must see this as a last resort. If you default on your debt review payment, you feel that, well, I've done my part and I'm not going to pay anymore, you lose the protection that we offer to you in terms of the National Credit Act. And as debt counsellors, there's nothing that we can do about that. You have not complied with the court order in terms of which you have to pay back your money, and then you lose that protection.
You are an attorney by profession. You are also the CEO of this company. How did you get involved?
Well, I used to practice law, and in 2007 and 2008, when the National Credit Act was implemented, and also when we started entering into the recession, I realized that there's a big need out there for consumers to be helped and assisted. And then I also learned about debt counselling, which was implemented by the National Credit Act in June 2007. And I realized that there's just so many people who can benefit through this. And then I went into debt counselling. I qualified myself. And I also think that it's very important for your debt counsellor to have extensive legal background, because debt counselling is nothing other than a legal process. So it just made sense to me, and we started in 2008, and the business has grown a lot, and we have been able to help thousands and thousands of people with debt review.
So do consumers all around the country have access to these services? Do you have offices all around the country? And also, if I'm wanting to engage with you to support me through this process, do I have to come in personally to have a consultation with you? How does it all work?
Well, we have clients all over the country, and usually the clients approach us through and liaise with us via email and telephone. That is actually what clients prefer. You can obviously come into our offices and sit down with a debt counsellor and talk to a debt counsellor about your financial processes and problems. But we see that people really prefer email and telephonic conversations. We do not have offices all over the country, although we assist people all over the country. We also assist people in courts all over the country. So there we have a very, very great legal correspondent network. So we can really help people anywhere, but people prefer email and telephone.
So how long have you been running Debt Review?
Well, we've started in 2008, and that's what I've been doing ever since, and that's what I've been concentrating on. And it's a very fulfilling business and industry to be in, because of the fact that in the beginning, when the industry started, there were a lot of uncertainties, especially between how to interpret the National Credit Act and the process, and the dealings between debt counsellors and credit providers, for instance. But over time, the relationships between ourselves and credit providers has grown so much, and it has really become such a good process. So we can really go out and help people without any difficulties in the process. And the fact that it has come so far, and that we see that we're helping thousands of people to pay off their debt and take that burden off them is really fulfilling.
We're going to come back after the break and look at the reasons, the 9 reasons why you should register for debt counselling or debt review. And we'll talk about your success rates in a minute or two. Neil Roots, the CEO of Debt Rescue, is my guest. We're talking about issues around, obviously, debt, that dreaded word, but there is hope at the end of the tunnel. There's a company like Neil's which is there to help you, so do watch closely. Who knows, this might just be your lifeline.
حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا
And a very, very important interview. We're talking debt rescue, and lots of us find ourselves in that very sticky situation. And thank goodness there's people like Neil Roots out there who's running a practice called Debt Rescue or Debt Review, where they come to your aid, they help you get your finances into order and keep you, hopefully, out of financial trouble. Neil, what happens? Can I apply for more credit whilst I'm under debt review or debt rescue?
Well, whilst you're under debt review, you cannot apply for further debt at that stage. But
even if I need the stuff?
Yes, unfortunately, that's because the thing is, we want this to be sustainable, or the legislator wanted it to be sustainable. So the idea is to pay off your debt. Now, whilst you're under debt review, we have worked out a repayment plan that would enable you to afford to pay back your credit providers, but also you would have enough money to pay for all your living expenses. So there's actually no need to take out any further debt or credit whilst you're under debt review. And yeah, the whole...
So you've just got to be a smart consumer. It's not about your wants, it's about your needs. So focus on what you need and not what you'd like to have, or your wish list. Forget about a wish list.
Definitely, and people must see this as a last resort, and
Sure.
it's a brilliant resort because it gives you the opportunity to pay back the debt that you owe. Otherwise, you would not be able to have obtained this opportunity to pay it back. So people must really use it and not see it as a payment holiday as such.
What about, Neil, do you have a cut-off date? So I come to you and I have, I'm owing X amount of money to X amount of credit providers. Is there a cut-off date? When you look at my finances, my earnings, etc., do you say to me, Julie, in 5 years, you know, you're going to be under debt review or debt rescue for 5 years or 10 years? Do you kind of go beyond that, or is there common sense prevailing and you have to have a cut-off date?
Yes, there's limits that we have implemented in the industry in terms of paying back certain credit agreements, like for your house. Ideal situation would be not to pay back more than 320 months on a home loan. So how we lower the monthly installments is actually to lengthening the period within you pay back your loan. But that has to be reasonable. We cannot expect the banks to wait 40 years for their home loan to be paid back, and it would also not be possible for a lot of people. They would not live that long. So the reality is we have to be reasonable at all times.
You don't negotiate with the banks to kind of lower the interest rate or just to ease the burden on the homeowner, or is that being unrealistic on your part?
No, we actually do that.
Oh.
And in lots of cases we get the banks to lower their interest rates just to make the repayment plan solve, because at the end of the day everybody wants the repayment plan to solve. We want it to solve, the credit providers want it to solve because they're going to get back their money, and obviously the consumer wants it to solve. So yes, the banks really do come to the party by lowering some of their interest rates. That's usually seen with unsecured loans, you know, like your personal loans, your credit cards and store cards. The banks and the credit providers are really willing to come to the party and lower the interest rates. Yes.
Now, what if I have a summons or a judgment against my name and I'm still owing lots of money? I come to you with my problem. What do you say to me? Are you able to help me?
Well, that's why it's so very important to, when you do find yourself in a situation where you are over indebted and you become over indebted, then you should go to a debt counsellor as soon as possible, because once legal action has commenced on a particular account, that particular account cannot be placed under debt review without consent of the credit provider. Oh. So we cannot include it and tell the credit provider you don't have a choice. The credit provider can actually say that you're not allowed to enter or include that in the repayment plan because legal action has commenced. So then the question also becomes, when does legal action commence? Because the banks and the credit providers have to issue you with a letter in terms of Section 129 of the National Credit Act, informing you that they are intending to issue summons against you and that you are allowed to go and consult a debt counsellor. So
consumers have it pretty soft, don't they?
Exactly.
Just look at the protection they have.
Yeah, no, all the opportunities are there, and they get notified about everything. It's just for them to go out and use it, because unfortunately we do see people who want to solve their problems on their own and negotiate with the banks and the credit providers on their own. And it's always good to liaise with your credit providers, definitely, especially if you're going through a difficult time and you cannot repay them. But the reality is, if you want a solution that is sustainable and holistic and would enable you to actually pay off all your debt, I would really recommend you contact a debt counsellor.
There's also a problem for people applying for new jobs. You know, you get these application forms from the companies asking if you have a criminal record, how indebted are you, etc., etc., and they want to be as honest as possible. Do they need to disclose that they're under debt review? Is that and if that's the right terminology, and how would that impact on their future prospects at the company?
Well, it will obviously depend on the employer, what questions they ask the employee. Do they want to know whether you're under debt review? And there is a lot of companies who want to know that. And you have to disclose that. But it's not all that negative, because what it shows me, if somebody went that route and they went under debt review, is that they did the responsible thing. When they were over indebted, they did the responsible thing by entering into this program to pay back their money. So I would not see that as a negative thing. But, well, it depends on the employer, you know, whether they want to see that as a negative thing or not. And if you just look at the stats provided by the National Credit Regulator, it shows that almost half of all credit active consumers are over indebted, meaning that they are in arrears with at least 3 payments on one of their accounts. So it would definitely not be a funny situation when you have been over indebted and applied for debt review, because half of all credit active consumers are in that position in any event.
Isn't there something that can be done to monitor? And I guess you'll say this is really Big Brother watching you all the time. There's just way too much of control as far as civil society is concerned. But should something be done for a red flag to go up when people are reaching or getting into a situation of overdebtedness? Then they won't find themselves in a situation like this.
Well, that would be ideal. But unfortunately, the reality is that it's really going to be difficult to play that Big Brother role and to monitor each and every person in the country. That's why it's up to them to realize that there is help out there. They must just know that when they do become over indebted, they must do their part and go and apply for debt review or go and see a debt counsellor. And one thing that people should definitely not do, and unfortunately we see a lot of people doing that, is they just want to borrow more and more money, thinking that they can borrow themselves out of debt, you know, and
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Not realistic.
No,
it's not
definitely
feasible
not.
at all. But having said that, don't you think that our creditors need to carry some of the responsibility, because they very readily offer a lot of credit, and I'm not sure if they do their credit checks as scrupulously as they should be. People are just getting too much credit too easily.
Yeah, that's definitely a big problem, and we've seen that in the past, especially before the implementation of the National Credit Act. We saw that with home loans especially as well, and with vehicle finance. Nowadays, the focus has shifted from home loans and vehicle finance to unsecured loans, because obviously with regards to the banks now, when there's an asset involved, they become more vigilant, and they do not want to lose that. So they have to make up for that by giving out unsecured loans very easily, unfortunately. And but there is something called reckless lending, also in terms of the National Credit Act. And what that basically means is that the credit providers and the banks have this obligation to make sure that you can afford to pay back this loan. They must do this affordability assessment to determine whether you can afford to pay it back or not. And if it's found that a bank or a credit provider has given a loan to a consumer recklessly, and they were not able to afford that, that loan can be written off.
Oh, there you go. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. We've got 2 minutes to go. A few very quick, maybe 3 or 5 key reasons why people should engage with your company.
Well, the main reason is that we can really change your life. We can really help you. We can help you to pay off your debt in an affordable manner, and you've got legal protection. We've got the best attorneys in South Africa with regards to credit agreements, who assist our clients when they are under debt review and credit providers still want to take action against them. That's the first and the most important reason. Then also, but what is very, very important is that when you are over indebted, like I mentioned earlier on, it's impossible to borrow your way out of debt. So you're going to sit in a difficult situation for a very long time, and that puts a lot of stress and strain on your family.
True.
And I think you owe it to your family to take the help that is out there.
And yourself. I mean, you have sleepless nights, for goodness sake. Very quickly, your success rate. I know you have over 30,000 people on your books. What sort of success rate are we looking at?
Well, the repayment rate currently in our company is more than 90%.
Oh, wow.
Of the loans that are being paid back, or at least the monthly payments. And that's actually the highest in the country of all debt counselors. And I think that is brilliant, especially if you compare that with the normal practice of credit providers using debt collectors to pay back and try and collect their money. We see a very low success rate with that, and I think the main reason is that with debt counselling we create an holistic solution that would make it possible for a consumer to pay back.
So if someone owes me money and I can't get my money out of them, I can't come to you and say, sort that guy out for me. It doesn't work that way. I have to come to you to say to you that I'm in trouble. You need to help me manage my my debt.
That's correct.
That's how it works.
What credit providers can do, though, is to refer that their consumers who are not paying to a debt counsellor. Yes.
Listen, I think you guys are doing amazing work. You have an amazing success rate, and this is truly a good news story, because you're giving hope to countless of people out there who are owing large sums of money, and they sometimes just feel that there's nowhere to turn to, and comes along Debt Rescue, really giving them a lifeline. Thank you indeed. Keep up the great work. We do hope that in a couple of years' time that we won't have the need for Debt Rescue, but that means you'll be out of a job. But be Be that is may, thank you for being with us. Some good news at the end of the tunnel. Debt Rescue is there to help you out of your financial woes, and it's truly heartening to know that we have amazing organizations that are trying to lift South Africa out of the mire, the financial mire, of course. That brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for being with me this morning. A big thank you to the production team. And till the next time, as always, it is Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Alli.
يا هلا 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 حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا 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 هلا